That is correct, ladies and gentlemen. We are live. This is a Thursday post-trade deadline special. The Phillies have just concluded their trade deadline, as has the rest of the MLB. We are live. This is the Del Valley Sports Pod, part of the Fan First Sports Network. It has been a little bit since we've been on because it's been summer and both Dan and I have been busy, but we are here to talk about what just happened with the Phillies and the rest of the MLB on the trade deadline. Dan, buddy, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good, Colin. It feels good to be back in this chair, back behind this microphone, talking with you, brother.
Absolutely. It is episode number 69, and I have not prepared a name for this. Maybe the Landon Dickerson episode. Let's go with that. But the Eagles have time to wait because we are talking about your Fighting Phillies, and they just made a couple of moves at the trade deadline. Two of note, one that just came across right after the deadline that's probably under the radar and not worth our attention, but two of note, and I want to get your thoughts. Joe, we need to make sure we get the spelling correct. Joan Duran. That is how you say
I think
it.
Are you sure it's not a silent J?
I am pretty sure from
not a
everything I've been told, it's Joan Duran. It is not Johan Duran. It is not Joan Duran. It is Joan Duran. That's what I've been told anyway.
Dude, I can't wait to see how Phillies fans pronounce this name. It's gonna be awesome.
They're gonna butcher it, as do they every name.
And when they're told they're wrong, they're not gonna change.
No. Alshon Jeffries, Nick Castellanos.
They're just gonna say his last name twice and go Duran. There, how about that?
Everything I heard on the afternoon show this afternoon in Philly was Duran. Like they're playing all the greatest hits because we got Duran. But it's not Duran, it's Duran.
Duran.
Apparently, that is what I'm being told is Duran.
Not for long.
John Iceman always shows up.
John
Duran.
Jhoan. It's going to be John.
It's going to be John Duran.
John Duran. Yeah, no doubt. Hey, by the way, can I tell you maybe the most exciting thing about acquiring this guy?
Hit me.
A little tongue-in-cheek, but I'm kind of serious at the same time. This may be potentially the greatest closer walkout song in Philadelphia Phillies history. And I don't think it's even close.
I don't think it's close because there hasn't really been one of note. If you're thinking, Esteves.
Fuego.
Wait,
Fuego.
I haven't had the time to look it up. What is there's that song in like the English version, but not one that he plays. Like, what is it?
Yeah, that's like the part of it, but then it breaks down. It's like fuego, let me get hot. It has like the song, the intro song. I haven't listened to like the song isolated by itself. It feels like, I'm not saying that it is, but it feels like a custom-made song for walkout because it has like 3 different drops in it. It's like, oh, we're doing a different, making it hot, fuego. And then when the Twins had him walk out, it was completely dark, and every single screen just had fire.
Yeah, his name was lit up and surprised by fire. Yeah, I cannot wait. You know what?
It's electric.
I'm not going to bury the lead here. I am going to the game tomorrow. It is the Wall of Fame game. J-Roll getting inducted as his Wade. And it might be the first appearance of Joan Duran tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that. I hope they're in a safe situation so I can get to see this. And screw the Twins. Take all of their graphics and just repurpose them for Citizens Bank Park. Put his name up in fire.
Yeah. Dude, who cares? Copy the hell out of it. Make him feel at home, dude.
Absolutely. Well, I saw a quote yesterday when he got traded. He was like, I kind of built my home here in Minnesota. I don't know about being traded. And that was prior to him being traded. So I hope the clubhouse welcomes him with open arms. because this guy is going to be paramount not only for this year. They finally have a closer.
A closer, a guy. Can I hit you with a real quick sidebar?
Absolutely.
You brought it up.
Dude,
Jimmy
I love
Rollins.
sidebars.
Jimmy Rollins, Wall of Fame Day, you said?
Yes, sir.
Do you remember back when we were kids, it looks like it was in 2005, when Jimmy Rollins went on that crazy hit streak, dude?
Vaguely. I know he had one, and it has been brought up when Phillies get to said like game streak, whatever you want to say. I have heard it brought up, but I don't know the numbers behind it.
Dude, that was back in like the days where you'd wake up and watch Sports Center in the morning, like full throttle. And I just remember watching the highlights of and Jimmy Rollins continues his hit streak. He completed it through the he began at August 23, 2005, and he continued it into the next season, and then it ended on April 6, 2006. It was a 38-game hitting streak. Can you, like, now it's a big deal if you have a 20-game on-base streak.
Yes.
38 games in a row of getting a hit is crazy, and that's back when they were more strict with, like, errors and things like that. That is crazy. I don't have it pulled up in front of me like what the all-time for that is. I'm sure it's like a Ted Williams has that by like 100 hits or whatever if I had to guess.
Yeah,
but
it's probably like I think 65 or something is the major league record, probably Ted Williams. But 38 is insane.
38. I don't think I always thought Jimmy Rollins was a great player. I don't think that I knew how good he was in his prime. And his prime lasted like a pretty long time, I would say.
Does Jimmy Rollins get in the Hall of Fame? Quick sidebar.
It's tough because it's out of context, like career stats. I don't know. Wasn't he? He was a Rookie of the Year guy. No, he was wasn't he? Oh,
I mean, I did not watch the Phillies enough growing up to remember this. You probably have more of an insight on this than I do.
He did not win National League Rookie of the Year. He finished third in the voting. But who did he finish third behind? Albert Pujols and Roy Oswalt. So, ain't too bad.
Pretty good.
Bad. His hit
Iceman. Rank 8 all-time of hit streaks in the MLB. Jimmy Rollins did. Appreciate that, Iceman. Love the stats. We got our own stat man here on the YouTube. I appreciate that.
I don't know. We'd have to kind of dig a little deeper to answer that question because you can't help but feel the Phillies bias and lead it towards saying, "Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude."
Yeah, and the MLB Hall of Fame induction ceremony was just this past week, so there was a lot of talk about like who should be in the MLB or in the Hall of Fame, who should not be, and there's a lot of talk about J-Roll and Utley, and the problem with Utley was his peak just never lasted long enough, and you could say the same about J-Roll and Ryan Howard. I mean, they had an electric 5-year run, but it just didn't last. It wasn't prolonged enough.
Feels like it lasted longer with Rollins, and honestly, it feels like it lasted long with Utley because Utley was good pretty much immediately as a rookie,
Yeah.
but I don't know how old he was. Secondary sidebar, and then we'll bring it all back in. I was watching. I always give you one of these like each pod. I was watching clips of yada yada yada. So I was watching clips of Chase Utley the other day. Funny that Jimmy Rollins and Chase Utley both ended their career with the Dodgers, by the way. But do you remember the game when Chase Utley came back to the bank? I believe for the first time as a Dodger, and the standing ovation he got when he came to the plate.
No, I don't know that I mean, obviously, I know that happened, but I don't remember that in the frontal cortex of my brain.
I'm totally spitballing here. I want to say it was like 2015. That's just a guess, but he came and he hit a home run. I think it was in his second at bat. I want to say it was second at bat, third inning. He hits a home run, and the Phillies cheer for him, and so much so. He's a Dodger, by the way. He's wearing Dodger blue. And this was when the Phillies sucked, obviously. They didn't have much to play for these days. He hits a home run, and he comes out for a curtain call because they're cheering that loud.
As a Dodger.
But guess what? Colin? He hits a second home run later in the game. Fans are roaring. Fans are roaring. He comes out for a second curtain call. 2 curtain calls. He's destroying the Phillies, and they say, we love him. We love that guy. I tell you what, for that reason, and we'll close up the sidebars here, unless you have anything to say. For that reason, he's got to be like one of the most beloved Philadelphia sports athletes of all time, to be able to come into the city with another uniform and get not just cheers, but 2 curtain calls as he's dismantling the Phillies team in front of them. It's unbelievable stuff.
Well, I'll put a forgive me. I'm trying to think of the word. I can't right now. But juxtaposition to this is that when Hoskins came back and played for the Brewers, he hit a home run, and they were cheering him as he was getting to the plate, and then he hit a home run, and then they were booing him.
Yeah.
Right? Did that not just happen this year?
It just happened. Yeah.
And that guy did the most famous bat spike of all time, and that plate appearance will live in Phillies lore as a all-time at bat. And then they booed him because he hit a home run.
But you know what? Chase Utley helped him get an actual World Series, and he played like his head. He was like Pete Rose-esque. I remember you never doubted ever. Even when he hit home runs, he sprinted from his first home run ever, which famous Crucky prank they pulled on him, by the way. Crucky and Ed Wade and Larry Bowa pulled a prank on him. Pulled him in the office after that game. But he played from the very first home run to those home runs against the Phillies. Like, he always sprinted. He always played with his hair on fire. And he had the famous quote at the parade. I think that those little things, is well, not a little thing to win the World Series, those separate even more so.
World effing champions.
Yeah, dude. In a full, like, classic 90s, early 2000s fit. He might have even had, like, the beanie on. He's classic 90s guy.
I mean, Utley was such a legend to the point where my little brother is named after him.
Yeah. Chase Utley, you are the man. If Harry Callis has called you the man, you're good. You don't need to do anything else in life, bud. You have made it.
Yeah, I mean, he was still killing with the Dodgers. He's spiking people at second base, whether that was a dirty play or a hustle play.
Baseball.
You can make that semantics.
It's baseball.
That was
baseball.
When baseball was baseball. Yeah,
back when baseball was baseball. Yeah, back when you could break a guy's leg and end his career in the good old days.
Back when hits were hits and there were hits were hit and no errors were called.
Back when a pitcher could throw 300 in a game like a real man.
Back when every pitcher went for 9 innings, and if they didn't go 10, they were a sissy.
Back when you could juice yourself up so you looked like Arnold and could hit 60 tigers in a year. That's when baseball was baseball.
Oh, my God. I love it. All right, let's bring it out of the 1980s and back to current day. Speaking of pitchers, the Phillies acquired Joan Duran. This guy has a 2.1 ERA, has 16 saves on the season, which is as many saves as the Phillies have blown this year. I'm sure you've all heard that stat.
It's crazy.
I loved that move when it came across last night. I was like, okay, Dombrowski's getting cooking. He's doing this right now. He had at least 24 hours until trade deadline ended. I thought there were going to be a few names that he was going to bring, or few possible names he was going to bring on board. One was Eugenio Suarez, who I woke up this morning, saw got traded to the Mariners.
Never got that. Never understood why that was as big of a story as it was.
I mean, Eugenio Suarez was definitely one of the biggest names on the market.
In terms of the Phillies going for him, I mean. Third base.
Third base, but what I was hearing is like you bring him in, you move Bohm over to first, you move Harper out to left, and then you have your solidified lineup 1 through 9 with one of the best hitters, at least this season in baseball. It would be tough. I mean, Harper's primarily played right, and he's played first in the last year and a half.
He's only played right, and he's played first.
I just, as a bat perspective, as a right-handed bat, I would have loved to see it. And then obviously he gets traded to the Mariners last night. There have been so many teams that have extended their roster over the last 24 hours. I mean, the Dodgers, Mariners, Padres.
Dodgers haven't done much. Dodgers haven't done much.
Which
usually they always get the top one or two. The Dodgers maybe got a couple relievers, which they needed, but usually the Dodgers get the number one guy out there.
Yeah, you're right. They're waiting for their players to get healthy. But the Padres went full send.
Crazy.
The Twins sold off everybody, including 2 players to our team. I mean, it was a wild trade deadline. Even during the 5 o'clock hour, I'm checking Twitter every 2 minutes, and there's like trade. They were sending players all over the place. I mean, the Twins literally sold off their entire team.
Shout out to the Twins for being a bum team that's like, we recognize that we're a bum team and we're not close, so we're going to sell out. And yeah, I'm coming after you, Colorado Rockies, mostly, for being an atrocious team for the last, 3 to 5 years and being unwilling to sell anybody. There's a couple of these bum teams that are, afraid to move their guys because they don't want to. Man, shout out to the Twins for going, we stink. And honestly, it probably made it easier for us to obtain Duran. Did I do it right that time?
I think so, yeah.
Wow. It was my first time.
Proud of you, Dan.
And because they're like, we have no interest in really keeping any of these guys except Byron Buxton. So, yeah, I thought that we may have had to up the ante a little bit when the Emmanuel Clase news came out. That was crazy. Emmanuel Clase, he was the top closer on the market, and then he gets in trouble with gambling. I mean, there was 3. There was Mason Miller was, to me, I didn't know if he was on the market or not. And it was Clase, it was Helsley from the Cardinals, and then it was Duran. That's 2 times now. And once Clase went out, I was like, oh man, we might have to pay a little bit more. But they got the job done. I do wonder if they were looking at Clase from the Guardians.
I'm sure they were. And then, that news came down earlier this week that he is on the restricted list for possibly throwing pitches out of the zone on purpose, which is wild that you can bet on such things at this point in, baseball and betting. And it makes sense that somebody could use that to their advantage. Oh, first pitch of said at bat. If you're not familiar, Ortiz from the Twins and also, the Guardians. Ortiz from the Guardians and also Clase are put on the restricted, still paid list, but are being investigated by Major League Baseball for gambling purposes because there is a notable issue with bets being placed and their first pitch of said at bat during any given inning. And, you can bet on the first pitch being a ball. And the first pitch of a lot of these at-bats were thrown extremely outside the zone. So that is why those players are being investigated and not with their team.
Wait, are you saying that it's like the betting sites that are saying, hey, there's something fishy here?
Yeah. It was.
Whoa.
No, it was the gambling conglomerate that or
gambling. That's a round table. That would be an interesting.
Or the people who track bets and when they're placed and why, and that is why there's an issue. Is because
that's crazy.
Yeah, it was because you can bet on these things. It's like, okay, first pitch of the next at bat, like in the 7th inning, or what Clase, who's pitching in the 8th or 9th inning as a closer. You can bet on whether the first pitch is a strike or a ball or a hit or whatever. And on a lot of those bets, there was an increased number of bets, like an unusual amount of bets placed on a specific pitch. And it was to be a ball on the first pitch of that at bat. And then they looked at it and the ball was so far outside the zone, like where it was in the dirt in the batter's box. And there was enough amount of money placed on those bets to where, like, okay, this might be an issue.
Somebody made a PowerPoint with some diagrams for this, for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So, sorry. That's why Clase was off the market. And I think they got the best closer on the market. I mean, the Yankees brought up your guy out there in Pittsburgh,
Iron
Bednar.
City guy.
Yeah. Yankees got Bednar. He was on the table. Helsley was on the table. Those were the names that were talked about that the Phillies might bring in, but they got the number one closer that was on the market outside of Clase. And I feel very good about this. We'll bring it back into the helm here. What is your take on the fact that they paid two top 10 prospects? They gave up McAble. They gave up Eduardo Tait, a catcher down in Single A.
Young.
18-year-old. I
18-year-old
saw a lot of people
that mashes, apparently. Mashes.
Yes, but he's 18. And from what I've been hearing is like when he gets up to the majors, he's probably not even going to be a catcher. So people who were saying that, oh, Eduardo Tait is going to be the replacement for JT Realmuto, it's probably not the case. From what I was hearing, and I am not an insider, you're not an insider, we're just fans of the game, fans of the Phillies. This guy was not going to be the replacement to JT Realmuto. Most likely, he was going to be a DH or a first baseman once he made it up to the majors.
I was going to be Logan O'Hoppe, Colin.
Yeah.
No, listen, it's easy math, Colin. At 18, we'll say he makes it to the major leagues in like 4 or 5 years.
I was going to say
very few guys make
best.
it until they're like, unless you're a superstar. Guys usually make it when they're like 22, 23, I would say, is a fair thing to say. Okay, 5 years. How old is Harper in 5 years? How old is Schwarber if he resigns with the team in 5 years?
How's
the bulk of this team is all
yeah.
like 30. We'll just say an average of 30 years old. Okay, so do we want if you're like that worried about that prospect, to me, there are so many more moving parts that you have to deal with, and you could in that amount of time. Or you can say, we gotta go. We gotta freaking go. We got Harper, we got Schwarber, we got Realmuto. We're unsure of the next couple of years. We're certainly like, there's a really good chance that the Phillies are a trash team in 5 years. That's a real possibility.
Yes.
Just based on who they have right now and their ages. You know what makes me okay with that? If we win a World Series in the next couple years. I'm okay with that if we win a World Series in the next couple years. That's just me. That's just my opinion. But I agree with you in the simple sense that he would be a part of the next run. Certainly not this run. And I think we're all interested in this current run. And I think it's a sacrifice worth making. And by the way, the thing that we haven't said about Duran, that's 3 times now, is that he's not a half-year rental guy. He's like a 2.5 years guy.
Control. Yes.
And again, that matches up with this kind of window that if you just look at contracts and ages, they've kind of put together. So to me, it makes a lot of sense. And I love that they got, I want to say Helsley is on the end of his contract, though I don't have it pulled up in front of me. But I like that they went for the guy that could potentially help them this year and next year. I think that's great. And we were talking before the pod started, and I said I think this is the most aggressive they've ever been, maybe ever, although I'd have to really look back, but in a long time on a trade deadline, in the sense that, we'll say the last couple years, because the last couple years we had a couple moves with the Angels. We picked up Brandon Marsh. We picked up Estevez last year. Brandon Marsh was aggressive in the sense that you went after a guy long-term, but he wasn't like a superstar. They went after a pretty big name, and they gave up more because they get this guy for 2.5 years. Whereas last year, those guys were rentals, between Estevez and Hayes. Those were just for this year kind of guys.
Yeah, and Estevez is having a decent year with the Royals this year. Would have been nice to keep him, I guess, but they got a way better replacement than he was this time last year. And my feelings on it are they have a guy that will be their lockdown closer for the next 2.5 years.
Yeah.
3 Octobers. And we know people were saying before this season even started that this might be the last year that the Phillies can be good because Schwarber might be gone. Castellanos will be on the last year of his contract next year. Harper's getting older. Turner's getting older. But I feel like adding Duran has extended the window, and it's just a closer. And shout out to my mom for listening. My stepdad's been texting me all day like, oh, they got a closer, but if they're not winning, what good is a closer to you? This team is good enough to get ahead, and the Phillies have had 16 blown leads this year. They've blown saves. You even convert 8 of those, and they're miles ahead of where the Mets are right now, who made splashes in the trade deadline.
Yeah.
They've extended the window that seemed like was dwindling by adding Duran. And what seemed like, okay, and Zach Wheeler is probably the most prominent of any of those players who his last year is 27. Yeah. So, yes, I see they have 3 more years with the current roster that they have to make.
There's a lot with the Schwarber situation, I would say. That's the last piece there.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest piece, frankly.
They need to resign him. And if they don't, this team might be left out to sea.
He's got to want to come back. Which is another reason why I like the move like Duran, where you're like, hey, look, futures, we got some guys. That's another reason why I like the 2.5 year things is that is a touch more incentive that the team's going to be really good,
But I texted you this morning, and it was after the Duran trade, and we're like, okay, what are the Phillies going to do today? Now, they got Harrison Bader from the Twins, 2 players from the Twins. But that is all they ended up doing. And I was hearing all morning that they were going to get Ramon Laureano from the Orioles, who ended up going to the Padres. Yeah. I thought he would have been an absolute perfect fit.
I don't love him. I don't love him.
No? Why not?
Love him. Well, just look at the last couple of years. He gets hot at times, but when he's bad, he's terrible. Hence, he's been on like 4 different teams in the last 2 years. No one really seemed to want to sign him this year, and then the Orioles picked him up, I think, late in the offseason, if the season hadn't already started, and he was really good with them. But I'm just not a big fan. His cold spells are so cold. He's been having a great year with the Orioles. I don't know if you remember, he was with the I think Braves last year, and he'll do some good things. I don't believe in him in big moments, I guess, because he hasn't really strung together too many great full seasons, hence him being tossed around a lot. But I think Bader is a better fielder than him. I almost want to say significantly better, though Laureano's known for being like able to hold his own out there. I want to say Bader's a better outfielder. Laureano has more upside as a hitter than Bader. And Bader's probably like a little faster. I don't know Laureano's stats as far as steals go. I think Bader has like 10 steals and 4 caught stealing. But I don't feel super strong between those 2 players. I don't feel one way or another between those 2 players.
I just feel like Duran was an absolutely electric move, a perfect fit for what the Phillies needed. And we haven't gotten to Jose Alvarado, who obviously is suspended, will be coming back, and will be a free agent after this year. He fills the role that he might have had over the next year or 2 if they sign him. But now they don't have to worry about that, and they're going to use Jose Alvarado in every situation possible once he comes back until the postseason, because he's ineligible to play in the postseason. But I feel way better about their bullpen now with Duran, because you have Kerkering, Strahm, and those are going to be the 7th and 8th inning guys leading up to Duran. I wanted them to get a better bat than Bader, who has been a journeyman. I mean, he really hasn't.
Both those guys are journeymen.
Yeah,
completely.
I guess I'm looking at the back of the baseball card, and I look at Laureano being a little bit better than Bader. Now
I,
I
I,
saw tweets out that he has runs created that are better than the average of baseball. Bader, that is. Uh, I haven't seen enough of him to really make a judgment, and I don't know how much better he makes the outfield than is currently constructed. Is he better than Kepler?
statistically, I would say he is. Let me get this thought out before I lose it. I was starting to really talk myself into Luis Robert. I really was, because I was seeing him hit really good as of late. He steals a ton of bags, like he's got a ton of steals, and he's a righty, and he's been hitting lefties like pretty good. But I think the fact that he didn't get moved again to me says that the Chicago White Sox, idiots as they are, in my opinion, I think that they must have just been asking like way too high of a price tag for him. But I was kind of getting a little hopeful for that, which I know is a slippery slope for a guy who's been pretty bad last couple years. But if you were to pay the same amount for him that you paid for Bader, I'd be 100% down. But I'm guessing that the White Sox had way too high a price tag. No, I don't. Dude, screw Kepler. Okay, I was really excited about that pickup. I thought it was a sneaky pickup. I thought he was like a pretty good baseball player. He's great at times in the field, and other times he looks like a little bit lost at times. And to me, a guy of his position who's not really that great of a hitter, certainly not contributing that much hitting, like you gotta be on in the outfield. We don't have that many great fielders on this team. The guys that are there to be great fielders need to be great, and he has been like sloppy at times. And the guy complains about playing time. He's I think played in like 90 some games. He's played in a lot of games to be complaining about playing time, in my opinion. To me, that just felt like a little bit of a salty excuse for a guy that's batting like just over 200. And the splits are not good. Like, he's a lefty to hit specifically, to play every day for the most part, but then to hit righties well, and he simply hasn't. Now, I think he's hit like 10 home runs against righties and 1 against lefties, so the power splits are there. But as far as just getting hits and getting on base, he's not been good, Colin. And he's kind of, I almost wondered if they were going to try to trade him to like make room. I don't know if they kept him because no one wanted him or because they believe in him. I don't know, but he to me has been like so disappointing. I was very hopeful for that pickup. I thought that was going to be a sneaky pickup, but Bader, I think Bader's a better fielder than him. I think he runs better. I think he maybe has a little less power potential, but I guess they're kind of comparable. My big thing about Bader that I don't love is that he's a righty that lefty splits are not that good on him. Like, he's not hitting lefties that well. Not significantly better than righties. So he's not like, the splits aren't great on him for whatever that's worth.
And that's what they were looking for, was a right-handed power bat who would hit lefties better than the rest of their team, who is predominantly left-handed hitters. I'm curious to see what the outfield was, and I was listening to Dombrowski's press conference, and he said Justin Crawford's probably not coming up this year. That was another thing that was talked about, is that whatever move they make, was Justin Crawford going to be a part of the moves, in that, do they bring him up or does he get traded? He didn't get traded. They didn't trade any of their top prospects, which I guess is good for the future. But as we talked about, how long is this future, and what does that future hold? Aiden Miller, Andrew Painter, Justin Crawford, they all stay in-house. They didn't have to move any of those guys. They still got Duran despite that. But I just personally, I don't think that Harrison Bader is that much of an upgrade based on the outfield that they currently have. And now they have to figure out what they're doing with Rojas. It's going to be Marsh and Bader in the outfield with Castellanos and Rojas maybe being a platoon player based on matchup. I don't know. I was just so excited last night when I saw they got Duran. I was like, okay, all right, Dombrowski's getting ready. He's going to sell the farm. Screw it. We're going for a World Series, whether it's this year or next year. And then today, they didn't make the type of move that I expected them to make. And I'm a little bit disappointed about it. I mean, last night I was riding high.
So who would it have been? Give me a name that would have got you hyped up.
Laureano.
Like, he would have got you hyped up?
Yeah. I think he's way better than Harrison Bader.
Laureano?
I mean,
dude, I guess my point is that I didn't think that there were that many dudes out there, outfielders.
Yeah. I mean, Laureano's hitting .290 this year with 15 home runs, which is better than any outfielder they currently have, by far. I mean, Castellanos is normally known as like a power hitter, and he has, 13 home runs? I mean, he's hitting well for average, but, you expect that guy to hit a little bit more for power, and he's not.
I'm trying to pull up his splits here. I'm curious. I think he does hit lefties well.
Yeah, and he does. I don't know. Maybe
he's better against righties. He bats .261 against lefties with 5 home runs.
This is Laureano you're speaking on?
Correct. .305 against righties with 10 home runs. Obviously, far more at bats against righties.
Yeah.
And as far as steals, he has 4 steals. So,
I see Bader as another Brandon Marsh. I mean, he's going to be serviceable, but he's not going to move the needle in terms of what you need as a team to get you over the top. And especially looking across the board at what the Padres and the Mets did. I mean, you have 6 clear way ahead teams when it comes to the NL. You have the Phillies, Mets, you have the Cubs, Brewers, and then you have the Dodgers, Padres. The Padres and Mets both went absolutely berserk at the deadline.
The Mets went for it. The Mets. So, would have you rather had Cedric Mullins than Harrison Bader?
I mean, I don't know what Cedric Mullins' stats are, but he still sounds like a better name than Harrison Bader. I feel like he's a better player.
A little older, maybe slightly older. Not as much power. Off the top of my head, probably a better fielder. Center fielder. I don't know. To me, these guys are all like, which one do you think is going to be a good hitter in the clutch moments in the playoffs? To me, because, that's who's going to have which to me kind of boils down to, and these are the stats I don't have in front of me because I'd have to dig deeper. Is who gives you more like disciplined at bats? Because sometimes those bottom of the lineup guys, you just need a freaking disciplined locking at bat. You don't need a home run. You just need a disciplined at bat to set up the top of the order. Dude, that's the one thing that's starting to make me nervous about the Phillies versus the Mets is that the Phillies and Mets both have serious top of the lineups. I mean, we're talking serious dudes at the top of the lineup. But right now, the Mets' bottom of the lineup is starting to show some serious life. McNeil's kind of remembering how to play baseball. Mauricio is really starting to hit the ball. Beatty's kind of in the bottom of our lineup is not playing great. Like Marsh is finally starting to hit the ball a little better. They moved him up in the lineup. Stott makes me so sad. Like I thought Stott was on this trajectory to be a premier player. Like I really, and he's not taking that next step. You got Sosa who can hit the ball good and is good against lefties, but he swings at everything. So as far as that disciplined at bat goes, you can throw that out the window. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think Harrison Bader will make some incredible plays in the outfield, and you hope that he can have some really big at bats, some clutch at bats. I don't expect, to your point, I don't expect him to have a ton of power, but I know this lineup needs power, but I don't know that guy. I personally don't see Laureano as that guy. Maybe I'm wrong. But I didn't think that guy was necessarily out there unless he got Luis Robert and he remembered how to be a superstar again, which is a risk.
I just looked at today as, will Dave Dombrowski take the team that is going to be an NLCS contender to a World Series winner? And Harrison Bader will not be that guy.
That guy wasn't out there, Colin. That guy was not out there. He was not out there. I'm sorry. He was not out there. No. What's the biggest bat that got moved today is you got Suarez, you got Naylor a couple days ago. Those were the biggest bats.
Yeah.
Suarez, I think, was always going to Seattle. He was in Seattle in the past. It's funny. There's a couple different teams that had multiple trades with the, you got the Phillies with the Twins and you got the Diamondbacks with the Mariners. Also very funny. I think it was yesterday. The Blue Jays, and this is actually does relate slightly to the Phillies. The Blue Jays were playing the Blue Jays were playing the Orioles. They had a doubleheader, and I'm pretty sure in between games, Sir Anthony Dominguez got traded from the Orioles to the Blue Jays, and then proceeded to pitch against the Orioles in the second game.
That did happen, which is wild. That's something you see on Moneyball.
Hilarious.
Hey, you're being traded to the team. I don't want you to start Sir Anthony against me tonight. Why? Because he's playing for my team now.
Listen, to your point, I want to touch on this. The Mets moves. They got Cedric Mullins. They got a couple days ago. They got Gregory Soto, which I guess they really needed a lefty, and he's had a really good year. They got the Tyler Rogers that touches the dirt every time he throws the ball. Wild. And they got somebody else who I'm forgetting about. Oh, Helsley. They got Helsley. Their bullpen has some. Their bullpen is looking insane, dude.
Way better now than it was.
Insane. It was good to begin with, I thought. I thought it was good to begin with. They've just been a little bit. They've had to pitch a lot of innings, but their bullpen was pretty good. Now they added Helsley, Soto, and Rogers.
Yeah, but Soto, and you'll remember this, every time Soto was in a big moment game, he absolutely blew it. I mean, when we got him from the Tigers, he was pitching lights out. Came to the Phillies, every time he came up in a big spot, absolutely wet his pants. And then who was he on before they got him from the Mets? He wasn't on the Twins.
Orioles.
Right? He was on the O's. Yeah. So he's not pitching in any big time matchup games where he's it means something.
He's probably like the third or fourth best pitcher on the team. For us, I think we expected him. He had come from the Tigers, and he was, I think, their closer, basically.
Yeah.
And then he became kind of like our setup man type situation. So, I in the same way, I feel that there is kind of some less pressure on him.
Well, he pitched last night, and he came up in like a safe situation and blew it. His first start with the Mets.
Was that his first? That wasn't his first.
Yeah, because he just got traded on Tuesday.
I don't know. I think that their bullpen is looking pretty strong.
I'm just nervous looking at what the Phillies did and looking at what the rest of the NL did. I feel like the Phillies did not make enough moves to counter and be as competitive and be better than the rest of those teams, because the Padres, the Dodgers are who the Dodgers are, and if they get healthy, they're going to be very good, and it's all based on their health. But I feel like the Mets got better and the Padres got better, and the Phillies did not get as good of a return on the trade deadline as those two teams did, and they needed to do a lot because, the Phillies are good, but there's still a lot of flaws, and I'm not optimistic, to be honest with you, Dan. I'm not optimistic on what the Phillies look like from here going forward, unless I'm wrong on what Harrison Bader brings to this team. I mean, I love the Duran signing, but this team was not a World Series contending team or, as good as maybe they were in 23.
No, I disagree. I think they're a good team. I do. But I will say this, and by the way, it was the second game. I had to clear my name there. I will say this. this team has to bring up Andrew Painter at some point, because imagine a world in which we fail to win the World Series this year, and maybe we'll say the next couple years, and Andrew Painter comes up and plays for the Phillies next year, and he's one of the most, hypothetically speaking, he's one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball. Imagine us looking back and going, what if we brought him up?
But where are you going to put him? On
the mound, Colin. Are you serious?
In the postseason, you go down to 3, maybe 4 starters, and they have some of the best starters in baseball. And that guy has not been great in AAA.
You know what? Find a way. Okay, Colin, bring him up now and show us what he's got. Do you disagree from that? If he comes up next year and he's like the next couple years, he's like a Cy Young candidate, you're not going to look back and think, man, what if this guy was on that team? You're not gonna think that? Are you serious? I will. I'm thinking it right now. Are you
talking this year or are you talking next year?
I'm saying why not bring him up at some point to the major leagues this year? Because he's on track from what I've heard. He's pitching.
He's not been pitching. I mean, like his last few starts in AAA.
Last couple games have been good.
Yeah, but prior to that, like his starts in AAA, like his entire season as a whole in AAA have not been that good. I mean, he's still like just a year and change removed from Tommy John surgery. He's coming off of that. I don't see how that benefits the Phillies to take one of their starters and move them out of the rotation when they have one of the best starting rotations.
We're having
in baseball.
the conversation. The bullpen is trash.
Yeah,
we just got one guy. Another guy that we picked up that we didn't talk about, by the way, we picked up Dave Robertson again.
Oh, my God. He's 40 years old.
That's my point, Colin. That's where this bullpen is at, that they were like, shoot, we got to get Dave Robertson back. Colin, we just got one guy. We got a closer. The closer pitches 1 inning.
Yeah.
We have had issues with 7, 8, 9 because we haven't had issues with 1 through 6, to your point. But one guy doesn't fix the bullpen.
No, one guy doesn't fix the bullpen, but when you come down to the postseason, you have 3, maybe 4 starters. You got Wheeler, Sanchez, Suarez, and then Nola. Maybe if he comes back, Luzardo's probably going to go to the bullpen.
Knows. That's the crazy thing is like Nola hasn't even been on this team.
Yeah, Nola's been a non-factor, and he's been one of the best pitchers for the Phillies for the last 10 years. You're going to either have to put Luzardo or Walker in the bullpen, and those 2 pitchers are probably better and veteran tested than Andrew Painter is right now.
You would rather pitch Walker than Painter?
Would you rather bring a pitcher who's not proven in the playoffs?
All I'm saying is if we don't see him at all this year, I think that's a fair point.
I like this banter right now because we're on opposite sides for the first time in a long time.
I think it's a fair point that I'm just saying I would look back and go, what if? If he's a guy and we have to watch Taijuan Walker pitch in the playoffs, you're not going to go, what if Taijuan Walker wasn't out there? Because, come on, dude.
Well, they're going to put Luzardo. If there's any starting rotation player that goes to the bullpen, it's going to be Luzardo first. And hopefully they bring him in on a clean inning so that he doesn't have to pitch from the stretch. But I don't see how bringing Andrew Painter in during the postseason when he's been unproven in
I'm
the
saying
MLB.
regular. I'm not saying start him with the postseason. I'm saying, by the way, we did this with Kirkering, if you remember. We did this with Kirkering.
Yeah.
We brought him in
August,
literally for. Did he even come up in August?
I think so. Yeah. He started.
He came up right before the offseason, dude.
Yeah, it was right when Michael Lorenzen was pitching, right after he had his no-hitter. Yeah, and he pitched great, and he's proven himself to be a reliable reliever, but he's not.
So it's something
electric.
they've done before.
Yeah, but I also feel that they're aiming Andrew Painter to be a starting pitcher. So I don't know that they want to bring him up in a relief situation, and if it doesn't go well when he's not used to his every 5-day routine, which is completely different than a relief pitcher.
See, that's a conversation I can get behind that. I can understand that, but my point is, I'm. Why not bring him up for a start or two? Why not see what he's got in the major leagues in August at some point? I guess kind of like they did with Kerkering. But
I think the main reason is because
I would look back and go, man, what if? What if?
And there, you know what? There's always a what if. My thinking behind it is that if his numbers were electric in AAA this year, there'd be no question. They're bringing him up. It'll get him some MLB work. They'll see what his cut of the jib is and see if he can make it through a relief start, whatever. And then if he does show up well, they'll put him in the postseason. But because he hasn't been at the top of his game against AAA batters, they're afraid to bring him up at this time of the year when it's like do or die. Let's see what you're made of, kid. And then if he doesn't do well, that shatters his confidence.
But
that shatters.
Not do or die. It's not do or die in August. It shouldn't be.
When this team has a very small window, and they want to see what he's. I mean, look at Mick Abel. They brought him up for one.
Mick Abel's a hero. If he doesn't have that game against Paul Skeens where he, and I know it's like kind of stupid to do the cliche, he outdueled the other pitcher because they literally don't face each other. But at the same time, you do feel the pressure of, I'm going against a guy that's not going to let up a run today, probably. So there is something there. I think I think there's something there, though it's a little overstated. If Mick Abel doesn't have that game where he, quote-unquote, outduels Paul Skeens, does he carry the same value and be that big of a trade piece? I don't know, man. Well, I think not.
The opposite could be said about his starts that came after that, where he literally wet his pants and pitched like crap. Where he did not do well after that one start, which I think, ironically, is the last time you and I hopped on this podcast, which was like a month and a half ago.
Even more so, the point that him having that one huge start where he was the dominant of the two guys at that. I mean, if he doesn't have that start, I wonder if he's that big of a piece because the other starts weren't as good.
We saw the same thing with Tyler Phillips last year. We brought him up. He threw a complete game shutout, and now he's a nobody.
Yeah.
So that's why I think the Phillies are afraid to bring up Andrew Painter this time of year, because it was around this time last year, maybe mid-August, that they brought up Tyler Phillips, pitched amazingly, had the complete game shutout for his second game, maybe, and then did not continue that relevancy, that level of pitching that he showed in his early outings. And now he's just irrelevant. And I'm afraid that they've seen what has happened in the last few years with those type of pitchers, whether it's Mick Abel, Tyler Phillips, whatever. And they don't want to bring Andrew Painter up.
Painter is not on the same. I mean, I just don't like. Tyler Phillips was never supposed to be like a guy.
Yeah, you're right. I agree with that. But Andrew Painter is supposed to be that guy. Say you bring him up and he goes in the seventh inning for three outings, and he has like a 6 ERA because he gets shelled on one of his outings, not unlike what happened to Max Lazar yesterday when he gave up 7 runs in 1 inning. Say that happens to Andrew Painter coming off of Tommy John when he's not had a great season in AAA. Now his confidence is kind of shattered. They send him back down to AAA, and he's like, I don't know if I have it. I mean, when you're a pitcher, confidence is everything, right?
I know, but I don't think that. I think you're underselling. If we got to have Andrew Painter AAA stats, I don't think he's had a bad year in AAA. I think he's had some pretty good.
He
starts.
hasn't had a year that's worthy of him.
We got to get off this. We're going on this too long. I just don't want to look back. I'm thinking of Schwarber. We don't know if Schwarber's going to come back. We don't know. You have to realize Schwarber is this big of a deal because where would this team be without the offensive proficiency of Schwarber?
Oh, they'd be middle of the road.
Would they be 10 games back? Would they be more
Probably.
than that? Because
at least 5.
They're not hitting home runs. They're not hitting with power. Schwarber has been unbelievable. And without Schwarber in this lineup is not very scary. So it's a real thing to consider that he might not be back because his contract is over. So that's part of what's feeding into me saying that, Colin, is that the reality that it is not guaranteed that Schwarber would be back. And hopefully the window isn't closed after this year. But if Schwarber's not back, we are not close, offensively speaking. Pitching-wise, I mean, this might be the best. I don't even think it's a might. This starting pitching rotation, yes, has been unbelievable. And unfortunately, the bullpen has been unbelievable as well, but in the other direction. But that's why I say that, because we don't know. We don't know about the catcher situation. We don't know about, and I don't want to downplay JT either. JT's been really good as of late. And yes, JT has been on a little bit of a getting older, steady decline, but the next best thing is not very good. So that's what drives this mostly is kind of a little bit of the uncertainty of the near future. And I think that's what's making me going, I don't want to look back and go, why not, if this guy becomes a guy.
Yeah, and my counter to that would be if they want to bring up Painter this year to make this be the end-all be-all, this is the end of our run, why didn't they make a bigger push for somebody else at the trade deadline? Which is ultimately why we're here.
But I don't want to end on that note because we are very excited about this new closer. We have a closer.
Yes.
And it's not David Robertson.
Thank God. No, they finally do have a closer. I'm looking forward to seeing what Duran has. And hell, you know what? Maybe I could be wrong on Harrison Bader. Maybe he's an upgrade in the outfield. But I feel like he's a little bit better than Max Kepler. And it's Dombrowski trying to make up for
nice low bar.
Sorry?
Nice low bar. I'm so mad at Max Kepler. The Yeoman. I'm so mad at him, man.
I thought he was going to be great for this team.
He's going to be great. He's going to be great. Thought he's going to be the new Philly hot boy.
Yeah, me too.
Now Bader's the new Philly hot boy. That guy fills out a uniform. He looks like a military guy when you watch him. He just looks like a military guy to me. He's got one of those, he's got like a little bit of an athletic, muscly man walk, if you will.
Yeah.
You'll see it.
All right. All right. Well, I don't have much more on this.
He's tough, too. He's tough.
Bader?
He's like a tough guy. Yeah.
Okay. All right. That's good. That may bring a little moxie to the clubhouse.
He is not soft. Bader is not soft by any stretch of the imagination.
That's good. Good. Kepler is soft because he complained about his playing time and his lack of production because of it.
Dude, that's so stupid, dude. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, I'm not playing. I was told I was going to be playing every day. And
why are your pants on fire, Dombrowski? That's what I call him. You're playing most games, dude.
You had 2.5 months before they started platooning you because you weren't playing well.
And now you just sound like a pathetic little man making excuses, in my humble opinion.
Before we get off here, I would like to mention I am going to Eagles training camp tomorrow. Wow. So that's going to be fun. Yeah.
And the Phillies? And the Phillies game?
Yeah.
What a day. Philly sports guy.
Doing the two-step. I'm going to come in for a quick short shift in the morning and then driving straight down to South Philly. Going to come back, take a nap, take care of the dog. Then going back to South Philly. Going to go see training camp. Going to go see the Phillies play. Hopefully see Johan. Oh, actually, I don't even want to say hopefully. I hope they're winning like 9-0 by the 8th inning tomorrow, and Duran does not come in.
I want to see. Come on, you want to see?
I want to see Duran. You're right. Selfishly, I want to see Duran come in. I want to see the graphics. I want to see the electricity. I want to hear that song. I want to see that guy pitch tomorrow. I want to see Harrison Bader, and hopefully he proves me wrong that he's a way better player than I think he is right now, and that he's an upgrade for this outfield. I am going to be waiting hand on foot for the lineup to come out tomorrow.
Dude, Saturday, so they're playing the Tigers. Wow.
Skubal versus Wheeler.
Saturday, Skubal versus Wheeler.
The Detroit Tigers suck right now.
Combined
they've lost
30
what?
strikeouts, maybe?
Yeah. Take the over.
Take the over. On everything, not runs. Not
No.
runs.
Take the under on runs, over
What's
on
the
strikeouts.
over-under on runs for that game? I don't think they can go below 6.5, right?
I like that line.
Alternate over-under 3.5.
3.5 total over under. That's wild. It's got to be over that.
No, I'm saying alternate.
No, I know that, but I'm saying if you're setting the alternate over under at 3.5, I'm probably taking the over at like 4.
Dude, I'm ripping that all 3.5. I'm ripping it.
All right, I love that. Go, dude. You know what? I'll tell that. Why not? This is we're a gambling podcast. And,
Nobody hits. Woohoo!
Also,
throwback.
I would like to say, this is the first night of football until February. We do have live football going on. The Detroit Lions and San Diego. Listen to me. LA Chargers are playing football right now, which I will go home and watch while I edit this podcast. It is the first night of football for the rest of the season, which is good to have. I always back when the Phillies were trash, back in like 16, 17, I relished the night that the Hall of Fame game came on, because I was like, yes, we're finally back to football and I have something to watch other than this dreck-ass Phillies team. But thankfully, we actually have a Phillies team that's worth paying attention to, which has made this summer fun, despite us not being able to get on here to podcast because it's been a busy summer for both of us. I am glad we've gotten back on. This has been fun.
Yes, sir.
And I hope we can use this as a springboard to getting ready for Eagle season. I've been hearing nothing but training camp talk. I'm going to put some video out from the Del Valley Sports Spot account if
I like
anything is worth taking video of. But yeah, man, we're going to be down there at the NovaCare complex tomorrow. Oh, I got the hiccups. I'll send you some pictures. I'll take some videos. We'll
send some stuff my way. Cheer on the Phils, and have your phone out to record if Duran does come out.
Oh,
I want to see what that's all about.
My phone's going to be starting recording in the middle of the 8th.
I got to see it. It's
going to be locked and loaded.
The one thing that the video, and they're easy to find, the walkout video is him. It didn't have Philly fans, though. Didn't have Philly fans.
No.
So. Oh, my gosh. Imagine that in the playoffs. My God.
I hope to see it tomorrow for the first time.
Woo!
And it's back to be with you for the 69th time, Dan. Do you have anything before we wrap up here? Because I got to get this stuff podcasted and put out, and then I'm going to get to bed, watch a little bit of the Hall of Fame game. But is there anything that we missed that is on your mind, Phillies related, that needs to be spoken on?
No, I just still love Bryce Harper. He told Rob Manfred, "Get the F out of my clubhouse, you idiot."
That we could.
How many? Okay, how much do you think that hyped up he's friends with every single MLB player right now, right?
No.
Oh, I would like to talk about.
No, he's not. I would
like to talk about a salary cap. I'd like to talk about introducing a salary cap.
Yeah, that makes sense for Manny Machado and Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, the guys who are making $30 million a year. But you got to think of the 70% of guys who are making less than $2 million a year, like Christopher Sanchez. You think Christopher Sanchez is going to go to that blind vote being like, oh, we're okay with giving up 162 games when he's been the best pitcher, one of the best pitchers in baseball?
I don't know what you're talking. I don't understand what you're saying.
Bryce Harper was talking for the 1%.
Okay, but how does a salary cap give the other guys more money?
Because
when Christopher Sanchez goes to get a big contract, he will then have a ceiling that he otherwise wouldn't have.
No. Because when there's a ceiling, there's people like Juan Soto who don't make $40 million a year. He can only make 25, and the rest of that money that could be spent on the top 1% of players will be going to the bottom 50% of players, like Max Lazar and Christopher Sanchez and
I don't think
Rafael
Max Lazar
Marchand.
is making more money.
Yes, he is, because when a salary cap and a ceiling comes, also comes a salary floor. And that is when the players on your team who are
So
not
there's not a floor right now?
No, there is no floor.
So you're saying the salary cap would get rid of all the other components like arbitration and everything like that?
I can't speak to arbitration because I still
to me that's more that conversation is that these guys get signed and then they have like how many years where they make a minimum regardless of performance, and then they have arbitration and all that, like what, 5 years later? All those dudes are still in that phase. They didn't even get a chance to get a contract yet.
But baseball is so different from the rest of the sports. All I know is that all of the three other sports in major leagues, when there comes a salary cap, and which there has been for a while, the players at the bottom end of the spectrum make way more money than there would be without a cap, because you have to delegate your money and you can't pay the top players an exorbitant amount of money because it does not allow you to. You have to pay them a certain amount of money, and then you also have to pay more for the players at the bottom of your roster and your lineup to bolster that. So people, the bottom end guys, they're making more money because Juan Soto's not making $30 million a year, $50 million, whatever it is.
But the thing with baseball is these guys aren't getting contracts until they're what, like 28 or 29?
Yeah, and
that's their, I would imagine that is their issue more so, because Paul Skeens right now making what he's making is crazy,
Well, yeah, because
crazy.
he's on a rookie contract.
He's an extreme but the rookie contract and the arbitration is so much longer in baseball than the other sports.
Yeah. But that's the whole collective bargaining agreement, which thankfully we don't have to talk about until this time next year.
Oh, jeez. I hope we don't ever have to talk about it.
Oh, dude, it's going to be an issue. They might not play baseball in 2027.
That's crazy.
If Bryce Harper and these guys who are at the top echelon of Major League Baseball stand firm on a non-salary cap, they might not play baseball in 2027.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
I hope that doesn't happen. I hope they can come to an agreement, but that's for next year, not today. I did
have to
appreciate
really do
getting
some
your
deep
thoughts
research
on it.
for that one. Jeez.
Yeah, it's going to be something.
Yeah.
But anyway, this has been fun. Is it anything else that we missed, Dan? Anything
No, that's all I got. Let's go Phils. Beat the Mets. It's a close race. It's going to be a close. I think these two teams after the trades, especially, are neck and neck. Both good teams. I just hope that the downfall of the Mets is kind of like their starting pitching, and that the Phillies starting pitching it's a wave that they can continue to ride like they have for basically the entire year. So
Yeah.
Let's go Phils.
Phil's going to be riding on the pitching from now until the end of October. Dan, it has been really nice getting back to talk on with you, sir. This has been episode number 69 of the Del Valley Sports Pod. We're going to plan to be on back maybe next week, maybe the week after. We'll see how it goes. We'll be reporting from training camp tomorrow. And you know what? Let's go Phils. To hell with the Mets. Let's have some fun. August is approaching us tomorrow, which means football season is here and the baseball season is getting down to the nitty-gritty.
We're close, baby.
Yes, we are. All right, Dan. I love you, buddy. Thanks for hopping on, and we'll talk to you guys next time.
Go Phils.
Yes, sir.